Hello there. So do you ever wonder what an artist does with all these jelly prints that they're making? Collage. Let's do it. This is the inspiration that I took from my recent trip to the Nina Sanchez gallery in Curacao. I saw this little painting of a fisheye, and this is a picture of her actual painting. We're going to recreate this in a collage. I made some jelly prints that are in different shades of sort of yellow and orange with some texture, and I've made these like in the last 2 weeks. This one has a little pink in it. I think that's okay. This part of it we'll probably use, not this bottom part. And this is a nice darker. So we may need even a darker one yet. I'll have to look through my box. The colors on this print is not so good. I'll put up on the screen the real intensity of the colors. So actually this is probably good. We're going to go from this will be the dark area up here, and then we'll have, much lighter areas here down towards the bottom, and then we'll use the yellows in here and around the eye. I'm going to paint the eye, and I'm going to paint this blue background here. So I made a quick sketch. I am using my we used to call this a carpenter's pencil. They do sell this in art supply stores. It's a square point, and it's a 4B, so it's pretty soft. And I just scribbled all over the back of this, and now I'm going to try with a nice sharp HB pencil to transfer this image on here. I may have to sketch over it a little bit. All right, so let's do that real quick. Let's see if this worked. Yeah, it's very light, so I'm going to go over it with my pencil. I'm going to start with my blue background up here. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of a phthalo blue, and of course my titanium white. I'm going to do some blending right on the board. And I like the brush strokes because it adds some movement here. Let's keep some of those. We'll just keep it nicely blended. Okay, so now we need some black. So I have a carbon black I'm going to use. So I'm just going to use that same brush. So I'm going to wait for this to dry a little bit before we move forward. So what are we going to need next? We are going to need some gel gloss medium. I prefer Liquitex, but I think you can use anything that's going to dry clear. And you need a good stiff brush. And I like to use cheap brushes because they tend to get this is almost like a glue, and they get all clogged up. So you don't want to use your really good brushes when you're doing this, for sure. Any of you that have done some collage work, you know what I'm talking about. Another thing you could do is, instead of a brush, is use a palette knife. I sometimes do that, because then I get to, really push it down at the same time. But you can also use a catalyst wedge. These are also really good for smoothing it out and making sure that everything is adhering to the surface really well. Okay, so we're going to just start by tearing. And this is when you really need the wedge. I used copy paper to make these papers, so they're not really super thin. If you use a paper that's more like a you know, a rice paper or something, then it might actually be easier to lay down. But the copy paper works really well, especially when you squeegee it down a little bit. Okay, so I'm trying to pick some that have this sort of darker pink in here. And I'm overlaying on top of the blue. Okay, so this whole corner over here has to be this darker color. So here I have some solids, which I'm going to mix in as well. We're going to do a little bit of both. The edges I'm going to cut off with an X-Acto knife. Giving it all a clean edge. Okay, I'm going to shut up for a little bit so that I can speed this up. And that way, this doesn't end up being a 45-minute video. Okay, I think I'm going to stop at this point, and I'm going to get out my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to start cutting the circles that we need for this area. And I think I need something a little darker. I'll show you what I mean. So obviously I need something very yellow also, but I need these like darker rings in here. So I found some papers that might work. Parts of this might work, and that probably isn't dark enough. But anyway, I'm going to cut it anyway. We'll see. We'll lay it on top and we'll see if we like it. I'm keeping my inspiration nearby, just off camera. And I'm going to maybe start with this lighter color. I think I did it as 2, but I think I'm just going to do this big area here, because this has the lights and the darks. See, I think that would be very nice. Let's see how it looks. Aha. So we do still need a smaller one, and I will go a little darker on that one. Let's try this. I'm going to make my eye a little bigger. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, looking at my inspiration again, I need something a little redder, almost kind of purpley brown. So that's kind of what I'm going to do right here. I'm going to let my black paint dry. Okay, that's nice. So now I see that I have to fill in more here and here. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I'm going to save my circles and my little pieces and work inward. So, you know, sometimes when you're working, you change your mind. So on the inspiration, there were all these little dots on the side. That would be sort of overkill. We already have sort of that feeling going on here, so I'm just going to forget that. I have 1 or 2 little areas I still have to fill. So I'm introducing a little bit of the yellow for that very reason. Because if I don't introduce it now, we won't have an opportunity to use it later. So I'm going to use some of these. I don't even know if you're going to end up seeing that, but we'll see. Okay, one other little piece. It'll stick right here. Now this piece can maybe go here. This one doesn't seem to be working right. All right, so let's really get our gel medium down here. And let's try to start working our way in. So I'm going to use only this yellow. So in art, you have to learn to pivot, and you sometimes have to pivot a lot. So something isn't working, you change it. I sometimes get heavy with the gel medium. That's why I like the Liquitex, because I can do that and it doesn't get milky. If you've ever seen your medium get milky, switch to Liquitex. So I'm trying to cut similar shapes than we have here. So we have these little curvy shapes, but I'm not trying to be perfect with it. That's not what this is all about. If we wanted to be perfect, we would use a brush and we would just paint. Now, I do remember that I have this. So I am going to lay this down. I'm going to take this one up. I'm going to lay this one down first. And then I want to put some darker ones in here. Okay, so the original idea was that I was going to cut circles, and they were all going to fit together nicely, overlapping, of course, but they were going to fit together. Didn't quite work out that way, but I think this is really cute so far. I'm going to wait till it dries a little bit, then I'm going to cut the edges, and then we will see if we need to do any additional work on it. Okay, I'm back. So I took a look at this and I decided it needed a few things. So the first thing I want to do is add a little bit of darkness here, just to sort of separate from here to here. It's too much, it's very similar in the shades and values. So I am going to add a little bit of differentiation here around the eye. And then while I was cleaning up, I found this. This was supposed to go in the center. Totally forgot about it. So let's just put it in. So I think that makes a big difference. And then I decided, yeah, we need to put the dots in. So I'm putting some more subtle ones up here, slightly darker color, similar to the inspiration. And then these light ones, I'm not putting in nearly as many as was on the inspiration painting. I just want to indicate, but we have, you know, a lot of texture going on this piece, so I don't think it needs anything more than what I have here. And so there we go. And like I said, when it dries, it will be completely clear. In the next couple of weeks, I'm planning to do another video where I do collage in my style, which is more like this flamingo behind me. I do fabric mosaic. So these are pieces of fabric that I cut with a cutting wheel, and I place them on the canvas in a mosaic pattern. So I think I can recreate that with jelly prints on wood board, on a panel board. So we're going to do this flamingo in a 12 by 12 with jelly prints. I hope you visit me again soon, and definitely keep an eye out for that video. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by, and don't forget, create, inspire, and share. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.